How's it going, guys? It's been a while. So, today, a few minutes ago, or maybe an hour ago, Trump posted on his, I think it's Truth Social, but also on his, I think this was also posted on his Twitter. Could be mistaken. He basically said, in simple terms, and he actually said this during the Republican convention, but I guess at least 50% of the Jews or more did not really pay attention, or just decided that it doesn't matter what he said. But he wrote it out again, yet again, today. He said, and it was direct message to Hamas, if you do not release the hostages by the time I take office, somebody gonna get hurt real bad. In the words of Russell Peters' father. Russell, somebody gonna get hurt real bad. I think you know who it is. I'm not gonna say his name. So folks, this is basically what he said. There's going to be hell to pay, to quote Trump. Of course, I know the answer, what will be the response or the answer from 50% of Jews in America. Maybe more, 60%, let's say. I don't believe that 80% of Jews voted for Kamala. I think it was more like 50%. I think it was even less. I think all these numbers are BS. But let's just say it's 50% for argument's sake. So 50% would say, what does he want to start a war in the Middle East? He's a warmonger? That's not how you get the hostages out. You don't just threaten people and blah, 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 blah. Well, my friends, as you probably know, the people who are behind Hamas, who are funding Hamas, are Iran. A little history lesson, refresher. We go back all the way to 1979. American hostages were taken by Iranian, basically terrorists, not basically, but they are terrorists, and held for 444 days. The hostages that are still there have been held for about 400 and some odd days, 420, 430 days. I have to check the number exactly. So, my friends, and back then, if I'm not mistaken, the hostages were released the minute Reagan was elected, or just before he took office. They were released just before he took office. So, my friends, there is something to this idea. I don't know if I want to use the term Trump effect, but there is something to this. Where people like this, in this case namely Hamas, and by extension Iran, understand only one thing. Threats. Physical threats of violence. Threats to their existence. Both as individuals and as organizations. As entities. Folks, that's all these people understand. That's all thugs understand. They understand thuggery. They don't understand weakness. They don't understand talking. There's no talking to them. And if you are, so to speak, talking to them, as you guys can see, well, they demand this in exchange for this. They demand like exorbitant things in exchange for like nothing. Almost nothing, right? One hostage for like 1,000 orcs or whatever, right? So you give it to them and you show them how weak you are. So, my friends, just as in 1979/1980, we have, a similar situation. Basically the same parties involved, or the same types of parties, who are on the same sides of the equation. And we understand what works and what doesn't. So for those of you who are saying, oh, he's a warmonger, he's this, he's that, folks, he speaks, one second guys, he speaks the language of people who understand only one language. And that's it. Strength, power, you know, the strong horse. Who is the strong horse in the region? That's it, guys. And they better do it. They will do it. Because they know if they don't do it, I mean, they're already screwed. And if they don't do it, they're going to be doubly screwed. It's not going to be pretty for them, guys. All right, guys. Something quick, to the point, and talk to you soon.